Monday Born is a skincare brand. Currently a skincare brand. I hope to expand to more. My role is founder and also creative director. I do a lot of the visuals for the brand.
Welcome to Unfiltered Beauty, where we go behind the scenes of the beauty industry. Today, I'm sitting down with actress, beauty influencer, and Monday Born founder TENI to talk about starting a beauty brand, the art of creating content, and mental health. Let's dive in. What has been the biggest challenge in starting Monday Born?
The biggest challenge starting Monday Born, I would say, was just, skincare specifically is a tough one to prove yourself in. It's not like color where you get an instant result. Skincare, you have a lot of things to prove and just, with the products, making sure they work and people are happy with them. I would say that was the most difficult thing, was to convince people that you need these products.
What have you learned from that challenge?
The thing I've learned the most is marketing is great and, brand strategy is great and all, but really at the end of the day, people really just want quality product. That's really it.
That's true. You just want it to work.
Just want it to work.
How did you get started working in the beauty industry?
So I had just finished my master's degree and I thought I was going to go corporate. I thought I was going to go into consulting or advertising. And I just always had such a love for beauty. And I thought if there was ever a time I was going to do something on my own, that's when it was, Yeah. So I started a beauty blog. I started with MissMaven.com, and that sort of snowballed into a YouTube channel, which crossed over into other social media platforms. So really it was just that. It was blogging about makeup.
How have you taken experiences from being a YouTube content creator and applied those to Monday Born?
The experiences I think that I've taken the most, or the things I've learned from the most that are valuable to Monday Born, are the user's experience, the viewer's relationship with the brand, and with me specifically. I think that it just leaves such an impression on people to focus on community and focus on hearing people. I hear you, I hear what you want, and applying that to the brand.
What about as far as creativity goes, creative direction? How do you apply all of that to Monday Born?
So I'm self-taught in pretty much everything creative, camera work, lighting, all of that. I mean, really, all of my YouTube years pretty much groomed me for what I'm doing now. So I've definitely used everything I've learned from that. I use my studio in my home to shoot a lot of my content.
I know you're really big on DIY, and you're also very into drawing. You've been an artist your whole life.
Yeah.
How do you take things like that and set it up for a product photo shoot or anything like campaign shots?
I actually use a lot of my own drawings within our branding, within our packaging, and we sometimes even use that with visuals in our social media, just using the drawings too. But I think it's a big part of what we do. It's kind of it just adds that, as a founder, it adds that personal touch to the overall brand experience.
When you go into drawing like that, do you go in with a concept? How do you get inspired for that?
Yeah, I do. So it's funny because one-line drawings I had never done before this. So this was a challenge for me too. It was a learning experience for me too. But I liked it. I liked that I was challenging myself with it. But every time it is kind of for example, with Source, it was the 79% centella asiatica. I was we got to draw the actual plant. With the cleansing duo, it was I need a Gemini effect, a duo, two faces, So I always go in with some kind of concept.
Do you also have a mood board? When you're doing product photo shoots, what's the process like? Where do you start?
I actually don't mood board for product shots that I do on my own.
Really?
It's a lot of just, I know our brand's identity, I know our colors, I know because mood boarding, as much as I like it, I also don't want to risk inadvertently being inspired by for lack of a better, I want it to be Monday Born. I want it to be authentic and original. So I avoid doing too much of that. Obviously we see things that we like and there's nothing totally revolutionary anymore. But for that reason, I kind of avoid that. So I kind of just, have a concept in my head and I just go to execute. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't,
Sometimes I also struggle with the same thing where I know in my head exactly what I want, so I won't mood board it.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to shoot and it just, for whatever reason, does not work out.
It's the coin toss, it's the risk you take sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes what you conceptualize in your mind, in execution, it just doesn't work. And sometimes it turns out better than you even expected.
Yeah.
So
In that case, let's say you go through a photo shoot and it just does not work out.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, where do you go from there?
So I get frustrated. I allow myself to be frustrated, and I go back. And not immediately. I usually will just say, you know what, we're going to revisit this tomorrow, because the creative process for me, if I get frustrated, nothing good is going to come from that. You know, nothing fruitful or creative is really going to come from that. So I would rather come back with a fresh set of eyes, fresh energy, and try again.
I'm the same exactly.
Yeah.
Like 2 days later, I have to come back to it. Like my mind has to reset and be like, okay, we're gonna figure this out.
Yeah, it's like having a fight, being in a relationship and having a fight and being like, all right, let's come back and talk later.
Yeah. We need to chill.
Exactly.
How are you implementing diversity and inclusivity at Monday Born?
That was one of our key things that we wanted to implement. It was diversity in all ways. So first is, you know, our community involvement in our production, our formulations. You know, we invite people to try our lab samples. We do our best to include as many complexions, age ranges, skin types, for the purpose of obviously creating a well-rounded product. But diversity specifically, we're not just looking at different shades, we're also looking at disabilities, ages, you know, those. I want everyone to be included and everyone to feel like they have a place at Monday Born. So it's like every day I'm like learning more and more how to implement more diversity.
Yeah, and I love what you guys are doing with the Monday Born experience. Yeah. Like, thank you for letting me be a part of that.
You were a joy, and we were so happy to have you.
For those who don't know what that is, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So the Monday Born experience is, for lack of a better word, a focus group. Either we do it invitation, or we'll collect forms from people based on, you know, skin type and age range, things like that. And we'll choose a small group of about 10. And those 10 will receive lab samples right along with us. So as opposed to us just doing it internally as a team, we're inviting our community to come try the product with us. And we gather feedback. You've been in our Zoom calls where we talk about it, we go into detail. We'll do that as many times as it takes to get the right feedback. And it's usually about 3 to 4 rounds. And we always end up getting just the right feedback. And that's what creates the best possible product, is the fact that this many different types of people have tried the product, given us their feedback, we've made adjustments, and we land on this product that works for as many skin types as possible.
Yeah, and the whole process is so unique. I've never seen anything like that in the skincare space before.
Nobody else has done that before in skincare specifically, or anywhere in beauty, but I'm seeing people take notice and start to also think about implementing that, and I think it's great. I think it's something that encourages a lot of involvement from people who, you know, are paying for your product. You know, they're invested in your brand, so this is like a no-brainer for us.
I remember when you were first talking about Monday Born, I don't know if you even talked about what Monday Born was yet, but you were just like, oh, I'm developing a brand. And you were like, let me know what you want to see in a product. Yeah. And I was like, oh, no coconuts, please. Like, no coconut derivatives, because so many brands, like the top 3 ingredients are like somewhere in the top. Glycol, yeah, it's always in there. And I'm like, can we please have a product without that?
That is so interesting you bring that up, because it being such a prominent ingredient within skincare, we learned actually just from, again, asking questions, what do you guys want? We learned that a lot of people have either a full-on allergy or at least a sensitivity to coconut derivative products. So we went to our lab where we said, listen, what can we do to replace this? And it turns out there are synthetic forms of caprylyl glycol, and there are other forms of, you know, plant-derived alternatives that we can use, and that's what we did. So, I mean, it's improving our brand, you know, it's improving the experience with our product. So it's like I said, no brainer. Like, why wouldn't we do this?
Yeah, for sure. I'm so happy there's a product now that does not have coconut derivatives. I'm
so happy to hear that. That makes me really, really happy.
So let's keep it real. What is real talk and why is that important?
Ooh, real talk is something I came up with during our meeting, like, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And, you know, Instagram Reels is a big thing now. And I wanted to, you know, when people say real talk, you know, you're keeping it 100. You just want to honestly and transparently talk about something that maybe a little bit uncomfortable for people to talk about, but especially in skincare, I think it's important to talk about these things like essential oils, for example, which was our recent Real Talk. Talking about these ingredients that, not to demonize them, but to educate people on the pros and cons of them, educating people about our drop model that we use. We don't want to be that brand that's inflammatory or like clickbaity, but we do want to make sure that our customer base is educated and well-informed, not just when choosing our products, but any other product that you're choosing in skincare or in makeup, to just know what they're doing.
We need more of that for sure.
100% we're gonna continue to do it.
Yeah. So speaking of social media, how has it positively and negatively impacted Monday Born?
Positively impacted, that's where we started. That's where we were propelled into, a healthy brand awareness is social media. Obviously, I've spent some years on social media and kind of established myself as an authority in beauty. So I think people with that trust in mind, they came to Monday Born on social media and supported. I'll be really honest, I can say for myself as an individual influencer, but for Monday Born, I don't know. That's my happy place. There haven't been much negative. I think there's negatives to anything in life, but the experience so far has been overwhelmingly positive, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
I'm really glad to hear that. So I know you mentioned as an influencer dealing with that. So can you talk more about that?
You have to take the good with the bad, and I think the internet is a space where I think a lot of people come to unload or, escape, and some do it with a good attitude, some do it with a bad attitude, and sometimes you as an individual get caught in the crossfire of that, but you just have to remember that's nothing to do with you. It's, they're dealing with something, and that's easier said than done. Obviously, when I see a rude comment or anything, it gets to you a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's projection, and you have to just remember that. A lot of times I engage with people and I talk, and by the end of it, they're like, oh, sorry, It's all good. We all learn, I just try to take it as lightly as possible. At a certain point, I was so serious about it, and so it was all consuming, and I would think about it so much, and I'm just like, hey, bigger fish to fry.
Has it ever gotten to the point where you feel like, oh, I feel so burnt out, I need to take a step back?
100%, all the time. And sometimes you'll see, I don't even put up stories for a day or two. I just need to step back for a little bit. I don't put that pressure on myself anymore. Before there was so much pressure, and I could tell my content just started to feel inauthentic. And now that I'm being really patient with myself and not putting that pressure on, having more fun with my content, I can just see the content is better in general.
I feel the same way. Sometimes I'll get into this really creative rut where I put so much pressure on I need to please all the algorithms and post a million times a day. But it's I look back at it and I'm like, this is not me at all. Exactly. I'm just posting just to post, and it makes no sense.
Yeah, I have to admit that is a hard, fork in the road. Do I take the bait and do this whole algorithm thing, or do I stay true to myself? I think that there's a healthy balance. You may not get the exponential results you were hoping for, but at what risk?
Yeah.
At what cost?
And especially being creative, it's so hard to just be creative on demand.
100%.
You need time to sit and think and let your creativity.
You're someone who you really think about the quality of your product. You're not just let me throw out these 10 pieces of content and not care. I could tell you really put thought into it, and I'm the same way.
Yeah.
So when you approach your content that way, it's a lot more difficult to play the game.
Yeah, you have standards for yourself basically, 100%. Which makes it so much harder.
100%, yeah.
With the rise of filters and heavily altered images setting unrealistic beauty standards, what is Monday Born doing to help the community feel empowered and set realistic beauty standards?
Well, it starts with me as the founder. I do my best to, I think maybe 80 to 90% of the time I'm without filter when I speak on stories. Sometimes I'll use a fun one just because it's fun, but just for myself as a person, I think it would damage me to consistently see myself with a filter and then look in the mirror. And that's not me, I think that goes for anybody. So I'm not trying to set myself up like that, but also for our community, I need to show them that I'm so committed to creating a line of products that really is great for skin and show the result of that and show that I'm confident showing my skin. I'm not actually wearing any makeup right now.
Oh my gosh, your skin looks amazing.
Thanks. I'm like I said, I'm committed to that, and we even use the hashtag unfiltered skin because we want to encourage people. There's nothing wrong with filters. Use them. If it makes you feel good, by all means use them. But at the end of the day, just make sure mentally it's not negatively impacting you. So we say hashtag unfiltered skin because we just want to encourage as much of that as possible.
I love that. I recently got to the same point where I'm like, I can't keep looking at myself with filters on because then I go and look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, these are two different people. 100%. That's not me at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to be myself on social media. Like, I don't want you to feel like, oh, you have to live up to these crazy standards and like, no, just be yourself.
Yeah, it's a personal struggle, you know, because everywhere you look, it's like heavy filters. And everyone's so pretty and like perfect. And you know, if that works for you, great. But you know, it's a protection that I have.
Do you ever struggle with feeling like you need to keep up with this beauty standard?
All the time, all the time. Sometimes I look in the mirror, I'm like, I need this jaw snatched, or I need, you know. And it's normal. It's a very human response. As long as it's not consuming me, it's fine. You know, I'm not thinking about it all the time. I'm still functional. I'm living life. You know, it's not something I think about all the time. But of course,
Same. Like you recognize that it's a thing, but you're like, okay, I'm still gonna go live my life.
Yeah. Like I live a healthy life. I don't smoke. I don't really drink here and there. Maybe I'm active. I work out. I drink lots of water. So I'm focused more on that. What the things that are gonna maintain a healthy exterior. As well as an interior.
I'm the same way, but I can get a lot better at drinking water. I'm so bad at it.
Same here. Lately, I've not been great about it, but
it's a struggle.
It is a struggle.
So let's go back to photo shoots. So let's say you've posted a campaign, everything went well. How do you take the learnings from that and apply it to your next one?
I think a lot of what we learn with photo shoots is things like time management. You know, we're creatives, so we really just want to tackle everything we can creatively. But, you know, admin-wise, you know, I get lost a little bit. I get a little bit like head in the clouds because I just want to create. And we get off of our shot list, you know? So I need to be personally better about like time management and sticking to a shot list, things like that. But yeah, I think just also visually, you continue to learn, you know, based on your brand identity, are these images conveying that message, you know?
Yeah.
That's, I think, one of the most important things creatively.
Is there any specific sort of image that you've noticed does really well for you guys?
I think there's a variety that do well. I think the videos do really well for us because I approach videos kind of the same way I did with my own personal content. It's just very storytelling, very visually compelling. The music has to be right. You know, that I'm so about them, like choreographing the cuts to the music. I think that's always really compelling for our audience. And just our aesthetic is very minimal, very simple, very elemental. So I think that those things generally do really well.
How do you approach editing? Do you start with music and then edit to that?
Yes. So what I'll do is first I'll cut up whatever is usable, you know, what I think is usable. So we have like a 7-minute video of usable content. Then I'll go and find the piece of music that I want to use and then plug that in, and then I'll cut everything up and like start to choreograph a little bit.
I love that you incorporate like your whole cheerleading background into editing. It's such a unique approach. I love it.
I love it too. That's my favorite part of what I do is editing videos.
Yeah, I actually do a similar thing. Like I have to go find music first and I have to color it first so I can actually see it.
You know, I'm not good at coloring. I don't have much experience in it, so kudos. That's really helpful.
I will help you whenever.
Thank you.
But yeah, like I used to play violin, so it's kind of similar where you're approaching it from this music background.
It's like you know, music is in itself a story. You know, there's so many emotions that go through a piece of music that why wouldn't that be your like people used to ask me when I would do like panels and stuff, what inspires your videos? What inspires you to make a video? And I would always say like, you know, I heard a piece of music and I thought that, and hearing the music, the visuals just come to me. You know, when you hear it, somehow for me, an image comes up and I have to bring that to life.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way. I know exactly what you mean.
It's exciting, I love it.
All right, we have made it to the speed round.
Ooh!
So real quick, rapid fire.
Okay. Oof.
Favorite Monday Born product?
Source.
Favorite skincare ingredient?
Glycerin.
What skincare ingredient do you think is overrated?
hyaluronic acid.
What do you wash your face with in the morning?
I actually don't wash. I just do splash of water.
I don't either. YouTube or Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah. Actually, TikTok. TikTok's really fun now, so
fun.
I'm spending some time there too.
So that is it. Thank you so much for
my
being
pleasure.
on Unfiltered Beauty. Where can we find you on social media, and where can we buy Monday Born?
So Monday Born you can get at mondaybornbeauty.com, and on social media it's just at TENI across the board.
Awesome. Thank you, TENI.